A Formula One team? Check. Champions League football team? Check. Adventure sports? Check. Energy drink? Check. Well, if you guys are wondering, this is not a daydream of an 11-year-old kid. This is the brand that Red Bull has created. The famous energy drink that claims to give you wings may even have some cocaine in it. Well, stick with us as we go for an adventure to show you the crazy story of Red Bull. Red Bull gives you wings. Their popular ad campaigns often show someone growing a pair of wings soon after they gulp Red Bull. But there are times that even if you have wings, you won't be able to fly. For instance, domesticated ducks. Confused on what ducks have to do with Red Bull? Well, surprisingly, more than you think. The beginnings of this multi-billion-dollar empire could be traced all the way back to a duck farmer in Thailand. Chileo Ludvidya was born on the 17th of August 1923 in the province of Phi in Thailand. His parents were very poor. They were immigrants from China struggling to make their ends meet. They engaged in rearing ducks for the most part and also sold fruits to make a living. However, what they earned was barely enough to make ends meet, and they had nothing left to provide for Chileo's education. Little Chileo worked in the duck farm to help his parents. As he grew older, he decided to move to Bangkok for better prospects in life. He worked at his brother's chemist shop. He worked as a driver and eventually as a sales representative for a pharmaceutical company. He worked really hard and was somehow able to save enough money for him to start up a business. In 1956, Chileo decided to open his own pharmaceutical company called TC Pharmaceutical Industries. Even though the company started off dealing with antibiotics, it was something else that became a life changer. There were tonics or medicines or mixes, whatever you may call it. There were Japanese drinks that were focused on providing an energy boost to those that consumed it. These products slowly started getting space on the Thai market, and Chileo couldn't help but notice it. Chileo, who had to work as a farmer, a driver, and a sales rep, knew the importance of that little energy boost. Even though these Japanese products seemed to do their job, there were a few deal breakers. For starters, they did not taste good. In fact, it was often described as tasting like medicine. The other issue is that these products were actually targeted at wealthier segments of the society. Chileo knew what exactly had to be done. He went on to create a much sweeter and tasty version of the drink, and at the same time made it much more affordable for the intended population, that is, the blue-collar workers. In 1976, Chileo released Krating Dang, which translated to Red Gar or Red Water Buffalo. The drink was promoted as one that would increase one's concentration, endurance, and even speed. And the drink was not really that expensive. It was priced at 30 cents at the time. Even though everything sounds as if it would go well, that wasn't exactly how things went. The drink struggled in its beginning stages. However, this did not stop Chileo from moving forward. He focused on the rural areas of Thailand and targeted the blue-collar workers. The advertisement campaigns played a significant role towards the sales growth over the next few years. The advertisements often showed laborers taking rest from their hard and strenuous work as they drink the product in a tumbler glass. As the product became more of a success, Chileo went on increasing the promotion for his product. He started to sponsor Muay Thai events and even Muay Thai champions. He exploited the love that Thailand has for the sport. His product utterly dominated the Thailand market for energy drinks, and one could say that he was the one who even made such a market. As the product grew in its success, Chileo realized that I could conquer even further. In the 1980s, he decided to sell Krating Dang internationally, the first country towards which it was Singapore and later Hong Kong. Well, this was just one half of the story. The other half goes halfway across the world to Austria. And the other half of this story is Dietrich Mateschitz. Dietrich was born on the 20th of May 1944 in a village in Austria. His family could be considered rather conservative. They were filled with officers, priests, and teachers. Wanting to break out of this, he decided to move away from this town and convinced his family to let him study ship construction in Vienna. The reason was because this was the only course that wasn't available anywhere nearby, and this was his ticket out of there. But surprisingly, or rather not, it wasn't ship construction that he got a degree in. He decided to study commerce at the Vienna University of Economics and Business. If that was surprising, wait till you hear that it took him 10 whole years to get his degree. However, that actually didn't stop him from getting a good job. He even went on to become the international marketing director of an international company. After graduation, he worked hard and became the international marketing director of Blendax, which was a German company which focused on manufacturing products like skin creams, shampoos, and toothpaste. One of his international meetings was held in Thailand, and that's where he came across Dang Katring. That drink left a spark not only in his body, but in his mind. Soon enough, he came across the fact that one of the biggest taxpayers in Japan was a company that created energy drinks. He wondered why there wasn't any such thing in Europe, and mesmerized by the taste and energy from Chileo's drink, he knew where exactly to go. He quit his job, which he felt was dull and boring, and made an offer to Chileo. Even though Chileo was not quite sure what to make of it, eventually he decided to come to an agreement. Both of them put in $500,000 and took 49% ownership each, and the remaining 2% went to Chileo's son. But when the product was actually tested by a research firm, things didn't go as planned. The trial group were unhappy and how it tasted and the boost it gave. But despite this, they went ahead with the plan and set up an office in Austria. But this was the least of their issues. They had to get approval from ministries of health in most of the European countries, as the ingredients were not commonly used on anything else. A while later, in 1987, they eventually got the approval in Austria. The product was launched with much-needed modifications. The medicine bottles were now shiny blue and silver aluminum cans. The taste was now much better, and they even looked better. But this wasn't enough for the product to become successful. There was one missing ingredient that Chileo had in Thailand: promotion. The new Red Bull was intensively promoted. High-profile athletes were sponsored, and they held mountain biking, snowboarding, and even hang gliding competitions. And just as expected, Red Bull started to become a success. Dietrich often used to approach influential college students and gave them money to throw out parties where Red Bull was given out. Some of them were also given Mini Coopers with enormous Red Bull cans on top of them to ride around. Even though Red Bull was able to sell over 1 million cans in their first year, they actually made a loss. The intensive marketing campaign created a loss but set a foundation for the future. Red Bull spread very quickly across Europe and got so big that it couldn't even meet up with its demands, as they ran out of aluminum cans in Germany. What worked out very well for Red Bull is that instead of bringing the product to the customer, what Red Bull did is that they brought the customer to the product. Red Bull became a billion-dollar business, and it was only in the year 1997 that Red Bull decided to debut in the US. Choleo went on to become the third richest man in Thailand, and surprisingly, Dietrich went on to become the third richest man in Austria. But Red Bull isn't fully free from controversies. In fact, Red Bull was banned across several countries, including Germany, when trace amounts of cocaine was found in Red Bull Cola. However, the ban was lifted since the amount was negligible. Today, Red Bull sponsors hundreds of daredevils, adventurers, athletes, hosts events, and even own teams ranging from football, hockey, and even Formula One. One of the most iconic events held by Red Bull is the Flug Tag, created in 2000. In 2012, Red Bull even had their daredevils jumping out from the edge of space. This video went on to set a world record for most concurrent live streams and increased sales by 13%. What really separated Red Bull from the rest is that they never tried to cram their products into the lives of the consumer. Instead, they sponsored events such as extreme sports and promoted athletes. It is the culture and experiences that Red Bull provides and associates itself with that creates its brand rather than how it tastes. This could explain why it remains at the top despite facing numerous competitions. Was Red Bull's strategy just pure luck? How would things be had Red Bull tastes better? Can Red Bull actually give you wings? Well, let us know what you think in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.